Hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine.
I'm Christi Brown, vice president of sales and marketing.
And welcome to Questions Answered. We're really glad that you're here. We each have 3 questions that we're going to answer that customers have called in, emailed, texted to us, and we'll do the best that we can. My first one, Christi, is about one of my favorite subjects, dairy-free ice cream. And we talk a lot about dairy-free, and I'm not talking today about, do you use coconut or oat or where you get it. This is more the facts and figures of the dairy-free that I was looking up last night. Now, I've been doing this for coming up on 4 years, talking about dairy-free. And I know it's grown, but I didn't have any exact numbers. So the estimated amount of dairy-free that will be sold around the world in this year, 2023, is 1.36 billion of dollars. Mm-hmm. That's up from zero 3.5 years ago. 1.36 billion. By 2029, that's let's see, 9, 8, 7. That's 6 years from now. That 1.36 billion will be up to 3 billion. If you're not selling some dairy-free in your ice cream parlor, you're missing out. You really are, because this is a market that is targeted at age 49 on down, who really like the dairy-free vegan concept and the fact that there's no cow dairy in it. So it's an important part of your business. What I would do is, if I had an ice cream parlor, I've already cut back on the number of flavors I'm doing, but I would have at least 2, maybe 3 flavors of dairy-free, and then do a special of the week, advertise on social media. Don't hire me to do it, hire Christi, who can work social media, and advertise it. People love a reason to come back and see you. Advertise it. We've got salted caramel dairy-free this week, or Oreo cookie dairy-free, or my famous mint chip dairy-free. It's not famous, it's infamous. The one last thing on that, the Italian ice people. You've been doing Italian ices, you make a lot of money, you're seasonal unless you're here in Florida or Arkansas or Texas. If you're up in New York, you're closing down your Italian ice business, not to open again until next April. Well, if you got into the dairy-free and went after an age group, just the millennials alone, plus you add the other 2, Gen X and Gen Z, you're looking at a huge amount of population that you could be also selling dairy-free to, and that's going to make you year-round. So keep it in mind. It's an important segment of the market.
I completely agree. This isn't a question, but more of some maintenance advice from probably our #1 biggest fan, John in Canada. Hi, John. So he said, "Hi, Christi. At this time of year, it would be a great idea to remind everyone to remove their dasher springs to prevent premature loss of their tension by being compressed for a lengthy period of time." So if you're down for seasonal, which mainly is up north, or if you're not, then this doesn't apply. But this is a spring holding the blades together. It's something we don't sell. It's just for display. But what John is referencing to is, if you keep your dasher like this inside of your cylinder for your off season, you're putting pressure on these springs that's not necessary. So even though you don't have to replace the springs so often, but instead of replacing them once a year, you can just probably shave a couple months off of that by keeping them compressed. When you're done with your machine at the end of the day or the end of the season, wash everything really well and just have everything disassembled sitting there, and to air dry. And then once it's air dry, put it in a container so no dust or particles are losing that spring that you can't find when you're ready to start up. So always great advice, and John's on the ball, that's for sure.
I guess we're on a maintenance thing. We may not be dressed for it, but we're well into fall now. And so the seasonal stores are starting to close down. Mm-hmm. And if they're up north, they're asking about how do I winterize my machine? That's very important, and we talk about it every time at this time of year. But if you have a water-cooled machine, this doesn't apply to air-cooled machines. You just plug it, unplug it, and go home, come back in the spring. But if you have a water-cooled machine, you're going to need to blow the water out of the system so that if the temperature in the building goes below freezing, you don't freeze up water inside your machine and start breaking Freon lines. We have a simple 2-page instruction of how to do that. So you can email to me, steve@emerythompson.com, or call us up and we can verbally relay it to you. We can send it over to you. And so you'll have that, and it'll explain very clearly how in less than 5 minutes you can clean all the water out of your machine so it's winterized for winter. Winterized for winter. One other thing, personal pitch about this time of year. I just came back from Walgreens this morning, and it's up here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I got my flu shot. Now, I'm not talking about the COVID shot because I'm not getting another one of those. I've had too much trouble with that. But I always get a flu shot because about 7 years ago, I'm one of these people who goes to church on Christmas and Easter, whether I want to or not. And I sat next to this lady 7 years ago who sneezed and coughed and everything else all over me. And 3 days later, I had the flu. And 5 days later, Paula had the flu. Well, you can't guarantee that by getting the flu shot you won't get the flu, but you'll sure get a milder case. So it's that time of year too.
It was 46 today in Florida.
Yeah.
That was gross. That's not Florida flip-flop weather.
That's 3 sweaters.
Yeah, for a Floridian. I have been asked this many times, and I always like to touch base on it. How do I prevent my chocolate chips from sinking to the bottom in the machine when I'm making chocolate chip cookie dough or chocolate chip ice cream? Very, very easy. So let your batch run for a couple of minutes. So turn your dasher on, start the refrigeration process, and I like to let mine run for about 3-4 minutes before I add my chocolate chips. That'll help keep the chips suspended more in the mix as it's continuing to freeze versus it being such a pure liquidy form. It's going to go to the bottom. If you put them in right away, they're still going to have a few sink to the bottom. We're not talking a whole massive amount, but to prevent from so much that you don't want down there, let the batch freeze for a couple of minutes before you add those chocolate chips. And that really goes with anything, candies, nuts.
I know these videos stay out there for hundreds of years and the time of year, but this is the middle of October, and if you're thinking of going into the ice cream business, Italian ice business, gelato, or all of them, don't wait till next February to call us. It's too late. Call us right now. There's a lot of work to be involved to get a store open or a truck or a push cart. We can help you with every single aspect of that. We know it all, and we're very proud of that, and we're happy to share the information with you. Christi has put together a list that is available. You can write her, Christi at emerythompson.com, or me, Steve at emerythompson.com. And I know you won't be able to see it, but this is a cost breakdown of what you need to open a store. Now, if this was 10 years ago, stores were doing were about $150,000 on average and higher. Now, Christi's figure is $42,500.
The basics.
The basics. And then a term I like very much, you let the business grow organically. My definition of that is you've put this money into the business, and now it's making a lot of money. You don't run out and buy your Ferrari yet. I'm not saying don't buy it, but not yet. Plow it back into the business and let the business grow organically. $42,500 is the equipment list. We only sell the batch freezer and possibly a hardening cabinet to you. We'll direct you where to get the dipping cabinets, where to get the flavors, where to get the display cases, the tables, everything you're going to need. But you have to start now, because if you wait until February, we're dealing with so many people that our lead times are going to go up on the machine. And also, you need some time to practice. You're going to be learning how to do 20 flavors, and you don't want to learn how to do it on March 1st for a March 15th opening. Call us today. Email us today. We'll get you into business, and we'll make sure you're successful.
Do your machines... I'm going to reword this. So she's pretty much asking if you can put anything that you heat up on the stove, like a syrup, a sauce, you're cooking your own mix for whichever reason. Can you put it hot into the machine? The answer is no. You can do room temperature or slightly warm into the machine. The reason is you'll start making dead spots in the cylinder if you try to pour something piping hot from the stove in there. That's just, for every type of equipment. That's always a no-no, so don't do that. Let it cool to room temperature at least, or slightly warm to the touch if you want to put it into our batch freezers. Other than that, that's about it. That was pretty simple, basic question and answer.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that if they're making their own mix, that it's better to process it, pasteurize it, put it in the refrigerator, and let it sit overnight, because as it ages, the flavor is going to balance out more so. So that's important. You can put warm products in. We heat up butterscotch in a double boiler and pour it in, but you don't want to put anything hot in. And my main concern, I'm not worried about the machine. I'm worried about the freezing time, because now you're taking, say, a 110-degree product and freezing it down to 19. It's going to be a lot faster if it started at 34 and is going down.
Yeah, and it might do something to the dairy that you put in there too, if you put in something that piping hot. We don't get into the weeds, as Steve says.
Yeah, but we'll get you into business. We'll fill you with a lot of information. And I always say, and I always get the same retort from Christi, but I like to hear it. I work for free.
I don't.
So call us. You can talk to the person who's getting paid to do this, or the one who would like to be paid to do this. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.